It is literally.
Mr. Vice President speaking.
What's your favourite part of being a woman?
My favorite part of being a woman is that we are beautiful creatures inside and out. I think we have so much love in us.
Being a mystery. I feel like women are so mysterious to men. Like, I like being a mystery for people. They don't think I'm as resilient as I am, but let me just pull that party trick out real quick and show you that you're not going to hurt me that easily.
I feel like it's something so beautiful. You just know, like when you're with other women, you know you're in this together kind of thing.
My female friendships.
The friendships that I have, how close they are, and how there's so much respect and love for one another.
Honestly, is the relationships I've built with other women, and not just the friendships I have with them.
There's this thing between women and specifically female friendships that I can't even describe it.
I don't even know how to describe it.
It just makes me feel really fulfilled.
I come from a very powerful female-led family, and that gives me so much strength and pride for being a woman.
I just love being a woman.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi there.
I'm Molly.
I'm Danica.
I'm Ellie Rose Elferink.
My name is Trinity Piva.
My name's Justine.
My name's Talia.
My name is Nikita Star.
My name is Abby.
My name is Sihana Dika.
I'm Nina, I'm 23.
I'm from Lincolnshire, England, and I'm 26.
I'm originally from Austria in Europe and now live in London.
I'm 24.
I am 23.
I'm 20 years old.
I'm 24.
I am 25 years old.
23.
I'm 23 years old.
I'm 23 and I'm from Melbourne.
Brisbane.
The Mornington Peninsula.
Gold Coast.
Melbourne.
Somewhere in Queensland.
Hallam.
The Gold Coast.
How do you feel about being 26?
Scared.
Scared.
Because it all happened really quick. Like I turned 18 and now I'm 23 and it just went like...
I feel like honestly, I kind of blinked when I was like 17 or 18 and then now I'm 23.
Being 26 is not what I imagined it would be like.
I feel old, but I know I'm young.
It's been no time, but a lot of time, I guess, because I've learnt a lot of things.
Being 26 is nice because you're an adult, but you're still young. So I think I can still get away with a lot of things.
I don't feel little anymore. And I don't even know what's happened with the last like 2.5 years of my life.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty neutral. I'm this age now.
20 is daunting because I'm not a teenager anymore, but it's also exciting because there's room for so many more opportunities.
It's weird. It's like gives you a lot of time for reflection as to where you are. You know, you're halfway to 30 and trying to think about all the things that you want to try and achieve before you're 30 years old.
When I was 16, all I dreamed of was what my life would be like right now.
When I was 16, I thought my 20s would be like moving out and getting a house.
Looked a lot more secure, as in kind of owning my own home.
Getting married, starting a family. The reality is none of that is feasible.
Being married, having my career figured out. But, you know, the reality of that is that my 20s are kind of for figuring all those things out.
And I also thought I would be more like financially stable and like live alone in like an apartment in the city. And I live back in my parents' house.
Thought when you're 20 you're like an adult, like you have your whole life figured out, and now being in my 20s I realize nobody really knows what they're doing. We're all doing this for the first time.
At 16, I couldn't quite see my 20s yet. I didn't have a lot of positive things to think about it.
I wasn't thinking about my 20s at all.
I don't know if I thought I would still be here in my 20s.
So I think at 16, my outlook on life itself was quite narrow. And I also wasn't out yet.
I wasn't particularly happy half the time. And when I wasn't happy, I didn't think much of the future.
I don't think that I ever would have dreamed that my 20s would be this great. I grew up in a middle of nowhere small town called Forest and never fit in. Really felt like the outsider.
I'm from Darwin. It is the smallest capital city. I grew up always being one of the smartest kids in the class, but having no interest in doing anything severely academic.
One of 4 children, the only girl.
Basically raised in an all-female household, which definitely had its downs, but it had its really great ups too.
I was raised by a single mother who works very hard, and she inspired me to basically put my mind to anything that I do and work and put 110% effort into things.
Growing up in a small town as a ginger who was a little chubby, I felt like no one looked like me.
I am an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. I'm an Indigenous Australian. Because of that, I have a strong connection to my culture. As you know, regarding what happened to Indigenous Australians in the early years of Australia, we were pretty screwed over being represented as a Indigenous woman who's in her 20s. I don't think I've found a story that truly talked about it.
When I was studying to be a doctor, I was really surprised to find out actually how little they actually test medications and treatments on women, because their cycles make things too complicated and difficult to come towards conclusive results. So they just use men for medications and they just sort of hope for the best that it would work the same for women.
Living in Melbourne as a young woman, I'm sort of constantly aware of my surroundings, who I'm with, what I look like, especially like in the area that I live, keys between my fingers when I'm walking home.
We're living in a scary, scary time.
I have a lot of concerns about the state of the world.
And I'm growing more concerned every single year that I'm alive.
What concerns me the most? That's really difficult to say.
Since I was really young, I was always really scared for global warming and all that kind of stuff. Oh my god, I didn't think I'm gonna cry. But there's so many things happening and we're moving back in time.
Everywhere we look, we're seeing people's rights go backwards. Things that people have fought for over generations.
I feel like there's so many issues and you can't just solely look at one. I think the racism that still exists, the sexism, the homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism.
The pay gap's fucked. We don't, regardless of what people think, we don't have as many rights in the sense that are universally accepted, as in the whole Roe v. Wade. Even though some of the things that I'm really passionate about don't affect me as a white female in Australia, I do see the discrepancies around the world.
People don't have the rights to abortion, for instance. In America, I think that is a huge concern, that in a country such as America, United States, there's nothing protecting that from happening in my country if it's going to happen somewhere so big like that.
How unjust political systems can be and how quickly things can seem to crumble.
Just how much power one person can have. The fact that people are very easily convinced about things, it is scary.
We should be focusing on things to help the environment, but a lot of governments are more worried about really stupid, little, petty, unnecessary things that don't matter, and that really bothers me.
And I'd love to be able to do something about it, but I think, there's not a lot I can do, and that's also scary in itself.
The whole thing, it's horrible. What's happening around the world is horrible, and it's terrifying that I cannot do a lot about it. I'm vocal about it, I vote, I do the things I can do, but it's scary that the people in power are the ones that don't care.
23-year-old female in Australia, I feel powerless. I feel like I can't do anything. You can donate to charities and stuff, but I would love to enact change, but I would have no idea where to start.
All I know is that the world is a giant dumpster fire right now, and quite frankly, I have no idea how one could truly be able to handle it. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot to truly think about.
We cannot change the world like this. So yeah, that's what I like to remind myself of, step by step.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, even if that's a naive thing to think in this day and age, but you can only dream that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
I think when people are united in something, that really moves me. Whatever it may be, people are uniting against.
Unification, people kind of coming together in support of people who are going through really, really tough times.
Love, nature, friendship.
Just seeing people genuinely be really nice to each other.
Acts of kindness, especially when people show understanding and empathy.
I think any art moves me.
If there's a good story to be told, really beautiful music.
A perfectly worded sentence. Weirdly.
Generosity.
When I see people eating yogurt, I don't know what it is about it, but specifically people eating yogurt with a spoon makes me really emotional. I don't know whether it's because it's like a childlike food, but I have such a vivid memory of seeing my dad eat yogurt when I was little and just thinking like, oh my god, you were just a kid.
Lots of things excite me.
Do find extreme joy whenever I'm playing instruments and stuff.
Being outside, I feel like, is where most things excite me.
A new movie coming out really excites me. I like dress up in theme of that movie.
Whether that's the sun, the moon rising, the ocean excites me. I love trying to find the first star that comes up. Life's pretty exciting.
Travel, I'd love to experience different cultures and languages and meet new people around the world.
I think that my purpose in life and the purpose of life is to love.
Love is the reason of life.
There's many different types of love. Parental love.
My cat, don't even get me started. If anything were to happen to him, I would die.
There's fraternal love.
Having a really good female friend is something magical.
And then there's romantic love.
Love to me is the peace my wife gives me.
Love to me means knowing without a doubt that someone loves you.
Have never experienced a love like this that is completely unyielding, unconditional.
I know that I don't have the peace in my own brain. It became my peace.
What's the best piece of advice?
If it means something to you, give it 110%.
You don't get out for no.
If you're going to fail, fail gloriously.
Which, by the way, is Northern English. You don't get anything for nothing.
Everything happens for a reason.
You just gotta do it anyway. You gotta do it scared, you gotta do it angry, you gotta do it confused, you gotta do it blind, you gotta do it when you feel like you can't.
My mum gave me brilliant advice. So instead of doubting all the time, she said, say what you mean. So always just speak your mind and believe what you hear. So if someone's telling you something, like believe them that that's fully what they mean.
Both my parents are recovered alcoholics and drug addicts. They met in AA. They're both 35 years sober. I'm not religious and neither are my parents, but AA can be a bit religious sometimes. But it is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.